Hey, spooky enthusiasts! Welcome back to Story Weaver, where we dive into the most bone-chilling mysteries from around the world. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on our hair-raising adventures. Today, we're venturing into the heart of Mississippi to the small town of Courtland, where the tragic story of Jessica Chambers unfolds. A tale shrouded in mystery, this case challenges the boundaries of justice and community spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. In the serene town of Courtland, nestled within the expansive landscapes of Mississippi, the community lived in a harmony often found in the pages of a quaint Southern novel. The tranquility of this small town was abruptly shattered on a cold December evening in 2014, when a chilling crime shook its very foundations. Jessica Chambers, a vibrant 19-year-old known for her radiant smile and kind heart, became the center of a horrifying mystery. The discovery of Jessica, fighting for her life next to her burning car on a secluded road, sent shockwaves through Courtland. As the flames engulfed the vehicle, the emergency services raced against time in a desperate bid to save her. With over 90% of her body covered in severe burns, Jessica's condition was beyond critical. The community rallied, holding on to hope, but the severity of her injuries left little room for a miracle. Jessica's whispers to the first responders hinted at the horror of her final hours, but the flames that took away so much also consumed vital evidence, leaving more questions than answers. As the news spread, the tranquility of Courtland was replaced with a palpable fear and an unyielding desire for justice. The question on everyone's lips was, who could commit such a barbaric act? The investigation into Jessica's death began under the heavy cloud of grief that had settled over the town, with law enforcement vowing to uncover the truth behind this heinous crime. The days following the discovery of Jessica Chambers next to her charred vehicle were fraught with a palpable tension that gripped the town of Courtland. As the community mourned, law enforcement agencies delved into the investigation with a sense of urgency, knowing that every passing moment could lead the perpetrator further away from justice. The crime scene, a haunting tableau on the side of a rural road, offered few clues amidst the ashes of the tragedy. Investigators combed through the remnants of Jessica's car, seeking any evidence that could speak in her silence. The challenge was immense. The fire that had claimed Jessica's life had also devoured crucial forensic evidence. Amidst the despair, a glimmer of hope emerged from the resilience of the Courtland residents. The town, united in its grief, became a hive of activity as locals rallied to assist in the investigation. Tips and leads poured in, each one a potential thread in the intricate web of Jessica's final hours. The community's intimate knowledge of its members and their whereabouts provided invaluable insights, narrowing the focus of the inquiry. As the investigation unfolded, the media's spotlight turned Courtland into a focal point of national attention. Reporters and cameras descended on the town, eager to unravel the mystery that had taken a young life so brutally. The influx of attention brought an added pressure to solve the case, but it also cast a shadow over the town, altering its once peaceful rhythm. In the midst of this turmoil, Jessica's family stood as pillars of strength, their calls for justice echoing through the corridors of power. The bond between the Chambers family and the community was a testament to the collective resolve to find answers. As leads were pursued and alibis verified, one name began to surface with increasing frequency: Quentin Tellis. His connection to Jessica and the circumstantial evidence that began to form around him painted a complex picture, thrusting him into the heart of the investigation. As the investigation into the tragic death of Jessica Chambers intensified, the focus shifted towards understanding her relationships and the people in her orbit. Quentin Tellis, a name that initially emerged from the web of connections in Jessica's life, soon became a focal point for law enforcement. His association with Jessica, coupled with a series of circumstantial evidence, cast a shadow of suspicion that investigators could not ignore. The small town of Courtland, reeling from the shock of the crime, watched as the investigation began to narrow. Tellis, known to the community and to Jessica, became a figure of intrigue and speculation. His movements around the time of Jessica's death were scrutinized, piecing together a timeline that placed him in the narrative of that fateful day. As the pieces of the puzzle slowly came together, the authorities gathered evidence with meticulous care. Surveillance footage, cell phone records, and witness testimonies painted a picture of Jessica's final hours, each layer adding depth to the unfolding story. The challenge was not only in gathering evidence, but in weaving it together in a way that told a coherent story. The community's role in the investigation was pivotal. Tips and information flowed in, each piece potentially the key to unlocking the mystery. The collective desire for justice fueled the investigation, propelling it forward even as it ventured into complex legal territory. The evidence against Tellis, though circumstantial, began to form a narrative that could not be easily dismissed. His proximity to Jessica, the inconsistencies in his statements, and the digital footprints that tied him to the crime scene painted a compelling, if not conclusive, picture. As the investigation deepened, the bond between Jessica's family and the community grew stronger. Their shared grief and determination for justice became a beacon of hope amidst the uncertainty. The quest for answers transcended personal loss, embodying the collective will of Courtland to see justice served. The legal proceedings surrounding the case of Jessica Chambers marked a new chapter in the quest for justice. As Quentin Tellis stood trial, the courtroom became a battleground for truth, with the prosecution and defense presenting their narratives to the jury. The weight of expectation from Jessica's family and the Courtland community loomed large, each seeking closure and justice from the legal system. The prosecution's case hinged on the circumstantial evidence that had been meticulously gathered. Surveillance footage, cell phone data, and witness testimonies were presented in an effort to weave a coherent narrative of Tellis's involvement. The challenge lay in the nature of the evidence itself, circumstantial, requiring the jury to connect the dots in a case where direct evidence was consumed by the very flames that took Jessica's life. On the other side, the defense mounted a vigorous case for Tellis's innocence. They pointed to the gaps in the evidence, the lack of direct links to the crime, and the possibility of other suspects that had not been fully explored. The defense argued that the pressure to solve the case had led to a tunnel vision focus on Tellis, potentially overlooking vital leads. As the trial unfolded, the courtroom became a microcosm of the wider community, reflecting the divisions and tensions that the case had exacerbated. The proceedings were punctuated by moments of high emotion, as testimonies and evidence brought the reality of Jessica's final hours into stark relief. The jury, drawn from the community and bearing the weight of their task, were faced with a difficult decision. The complexity of the case, the circumstantial nature of the evidence, and the high stakes of the outcome weighed heavily on their deliberations. As the trial progressed, the Courtland community watched with bated breath, hoping for a resolution that would bring peace to Jessica's family and justice for a life cut tragically short. The outcome of the trial would not only determine Tellis's fate, but would also reflect on the justice system's ability to navigate the intricacies of such a complex case. The conclusion of the first trial in the case against Quentin Tellis left the town of Courtland in a state of suspended anticipation. The jury, after days of deliberation, returned with a verdict that sent ripples through the courtroom and beyond: a hung jury. This outcome, a reflection of the case's complexities and the high threshold for proof beyond a reasonable doubt, meant that no definitive judgment was reached regarding Tellis's guilt or innocence. This unresolved end to the trial was met with a mix of emotions. Jessica's family, who had sat through the proceedings with a mix of hope and heartache, found themselves caught in an agonizing limbo, their daughter's justice still out of reach. The community, which had rallied around the family and the case, grappled with the implications of the verdict. For some, it underscored the challenges of prosecuting a case built on circumstantial evidence. For others, it was a painful reminder of the elusive nature of justice. The media frenzy that had enveloped Courtland during the trial only intensified in the wake of the verdict. Reporters and commentators dissected the proceedings, speculating on the factors that led to the jury's indecision. This national spotlight kept the case in the public eye, drawing attention from true crime enthusiasts and legal analysts alike. Amidst this scrutiny, preparations for a second trial began. The prosecution, undeterred by the initial setback, was committed to re-evaluating its strategy and evidence, determined to present a more compelling case. The defense, buoyed by the outcome, prepared to reinforce their arguments for Tellis's innocence. As the community braced for another round of legal proceedings, the impact of the case on Courtland was palpable. The unity and resolve that had characterized the town's initial response to the tragedy were now tempered by the complexities and frustrations of the legal process. Yet, the desire for justice for Jessica Chambers remained undiminished, a testament to the enduring spirit of the community and the memory of the vibrant young woman whose life had been so tragically cut short. As the saga of Jessica Chambers' case unfolded through a second trial, the community of Courtland and the nation watched with bated breath, hoping for a resolution that had eluded them thus far. The retrial, echoing the first, delved into the intricate web of evidence, testimonies, and legal arguments, each side striving to sway the jury towards their perspective. Despite the fervent efforts of the prosecution, the second trial culminated in a verdict that mirrored the first: another hung jury. This repetition of inconclusiveness underscored the inherent challenges of the case: the reliance on circumstantial evidence, the absence of a direct confession, and the complexities of legal proof. The aftermath of the second trial left a deep imprint on the fabric of Courtland. Jessica's family, enduring the anguish of reliving her final moments without the closure of a definitive verdict, remained a beacon of dignity and resilience. Their unwavering pursuit of justice for Jessica became a rallying cry for those who followed the case, a symbol of the enduring fight against the shadows of uncertainty and injustice. The community, forever changed by the tragedy, found solace in unity and collective memory. Vigils and memorials for Jessica became touchstones for reflection, places where grief and hope intertwined. These acts of remembrance served not only as tributes to Jessica, but as reminders of the community's collective strength and compassion in the face of adversity. The broader implications of Jessica's case reverberated beyond Courtland, sparking discussions about the justice system's handling of complex cases, the role of media in shaping public perception, and the ways in which communities rally in the face of tragedy. The enduring mystery of Jessica Chambers' death, marked by the twin shadows of sorrow and unresolved justice, remains a poignant chapter in the annals of true crime, a reminder of the fragility of life and the ceaseless quest for truth. As we close this chapter on the tragic story of Jessica Chambers, let us not forget the lessons it imparts about resilience, the the complexities of the human experience, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most heart-wrenching mysteries. Don't forget to subscribe and follow Storyweaver for more tales that challenge, inspire, and remind us of the strength found in the human spirit and the bonds of community.